Christmas robot. Happy holidays. Let's make tortellini soup. Why not? Tortellini soup, which is not filled with hundreds of tortellini, it's quite delicate and lovely, is really a broth, tortellini and brodo, or it's a broth with some tortellinis in it. We're gonna make a mushroom one, which is traditionally, Lynn tells me, traditionally the first course of the 7 fishes? No. Concurrent with us shooting these episodes, this incredible book was published. Finally, Rita Sodi and Jody Williams published the book for Via Carota. Now, it also has the Pisolino sandwiches in it that I butchered in picnic episode. This is fabulous. It's so beautiful. I was gonna make the pasta last night because it should rest overnight. And I use a recipe that's basically Gordon. But then I saw that they have a pasta recipe in here, which is much smaller amount, which is convenient. And it was also kind of interesting. So we're gonna follow Rita and Jody's recipe. And like I always told you in the lockdown pappardelle episode, you can make pasta the first time you make it, but it takes a lifetime to get good at it. I am not good at it yet, so please forgive me. But here we go. Tortellini in broth, mushroom broth. Let's make the tortellinis, don't be scared. Now, Reggie and I were privileged to take the master class with Matt Abbey at Gordon Ramsay Hospital Road, where we were assisted unbelievably by Kim Ratcharowan, who is now the head chef at Gordon Ramsay Hospital Road. Congratulations, Kim, and on your magazine cover for Chef and Restaurant. We were thrilled to meet you that day, and we wish you fantastic luck. And congratulations on your marriage also. We're gonna make this with this fabulous measurement of 1 2/3 of a cup of 00 flour. Like I told you before, I wouldn't make this with regular flour. Should use 00. So this is King Arthur's version of 00. I'm just gonna put this in here. Now, I thought you have to make a well in the center and crack the eggs and use a fork. Listen, that's a fun thing to do. It's also really, really messy, and you may not always have time. In this book, they say, go ahead and make it in a mixer. And I said, God damn it, I'm gonna do that. And it worked. You still have to knead it, but it's not this like forking. You should do the egg well thing, but try it like this. There you go. A little bit of salt, un peu de sel, voilà, comme ça. In here, I'm gonna put 2 eggs. I'm gonna homogenize them. I'm not gonna crack them in here. I think you need 3 eggs, but I don't wanna contradict Jody. I would use an extra yolk. I'm not saying she's wrong, she's not wrong. So we're gonna use 2 eggs. Here I am throwing out an egg white and a yolk. I'm just gonna homogenize that, and I'm gonna squirt in a little olive oil, and I'm gonna have some water handy also. You're gonna make pasta right now, okay? I'm just mixing the salt. Ready? This is scary because, you know, you learn that you have to do the well and the eggs go everywhere. You do, but you also don't. Keep this running on stir. Mixture. Here we go. Slowly adding. It's on stir, the lowest setting. You could do this in the food processor too. I know it goes against everything we think. I'm just gonna get this off here so that it mixes properly because there's a lot of liquid in there. So you want what they call a shaggy dough, which this is almost a shaggy dough, actually. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit of water, just a little tiny bit. See how it's forming a dough? So now I'm gonna stop it and feel the dough. It's pretty good. Okay. I covered it with a little bit of flour, sorry. And we're gonna put a little flour, not a lot, down on our surface. And we're gonna knead it until it's soft and pliable and elastic. So don't be afraid. I put a little flour on there because it got a little wet in the bowl. Just a little bit of flour here, okay? Now what you do is you turn it and push it. Turn it, push it. It's already more elastic. Turn it and push it. Push with the heel of your hand. I'm trying to make it absorb a little more flour because it's slightly wet. It's amazing. It's like a miracle when it happens. I can feel it happening. See that? It's still a little bit shaggy, and you want the top to be smooth and supple. It's a little tiny bit sticky. So I'm just gonna put a little bit on my hands only. Look at how pliant and gorgeous it is. See that? Oh yes, I can feel it coming to life. It's alive. Hello. You wanna do this until you can tell it starts to bounce back a little bit. So you can also push and fold back with one hand if you want. Using your whole hand is not a good idea. You wanna use heel, turn, you know what I mean? You're gonna mess up. Guess what? They all did. And some people have been doing this since they were like 3 years old. I just started doing it during COVID. Okay, I'm gonna just do this for 2 more seconds and I'm gonna wrap it in cling film because I like the way it's responding to me. I kind of want a smooth surface. Not bad. So what I'm gonna do is the same thing we always do. I'm gonna make it more beautiful in the plastic wrap. Look at that. Oh, it's perfect. I mean, it's perfect for a beginner. Okay, now, can you believe that was the thing that we took out of the mixer? Look at that. It's so soft. It's not shaggy at all. It's a beautiful, pliant, soft dough. That's gorgeous. Look at that. Ah, look at that. Come on. Tortellini. What's inside it? Well, I thought we would do a vegetarian one. So what's inside it is a delicious mushroom filling because we're gonna do a mushroom broth. Even though I'm not making a duxelle, I'm gonna dry out this is blitzed mushroom, porcini mushroom, that's it. It's a dry pan. I'm gonna let it weep a little bit and evaporate a little bit of the moisture. See how it's steaming? It's because there's a lot of liquid in the mushrooms, which is why you never wash mushrooms under running water. You clean them with a cloth. This might bring you back to beef Wellington when this really has to be dry. It's pretty dry, actually, because I left it ingeniously on a paper towel in the fridge overnight, and it kind of dried out, but look how much liquid is still coming out. I'm just drying it to make it easier to make into a filling. Basically, that's it. So we're gonna use a little trick, which is while I'm frying the shallots, I'm just gonna put this in a sieve over the sink so that it drains, and then I'll press it with a cloth. We're just making a delicious stuffing, essentially. Think of what you'd like to taste. This is just some little onions, basically, shallots. We haven't put any pepper, so I'm putting a little pepper. This is herbes de Provence, which is, I forget the combo, but you can buy it separate also, obviously. All right, I'm gonna put the mushrooms back in after I press them with a cloth, like this. Oh boy. I have it up pretty hot. It looks dry to me. And when this cools, I'm just gonna mix in a little bit of creme fraiche to make sort of like a paste. And we're just gonna put a little dollop in each tortellini. I'm happy with this. It's very dry. I'm just gonna taste it. It has a very wintry smell, right? Damn, that's good. Wow, that's really good. All right, I'm turning the heat off. I'm gonna let this sort of cool down, and then I'm gonna mix it with the a little bit of creme fraiche just to make a filling. You don't want it to be crumbling loose. You want it to stay in a plop. So that's the amount you're adding, enough for it to make a plop. So now we're gonna roll out the tortellini. Now we only need really 3 to 5, I would say, per person. We're gonna go for 3. If it's going really good, we'll make 5. All right, so here's my rested dough. This has been rested overnight. All right. Looks pretty good. I'm not gonna roll the whole thing. I'm gonna cut it in half. I'm gonna make it into sort of a crude rectangle, okay? This is my atlas. I can't remember if it comes out this side or that side. I think it comes out this side. Put it on the most open, which is 0. Here we go. Well, I would say it rolled perfectly. Okay, we're gonna put it through once more at 0. Need a little flour. It's actually almost ready to use. I'm gonna cut this in half. See how elastic it is? Okay, this is 1. I'm gonna go to 2. 3. Ooh, it's getting good. Can almost see the marble through it. Let's try 4. We're getting towards the end of where we can do it. I'll show you why. It's getting a little wide down here for the width of the machine, so I'm going to cut a couple. There's 1, 2. Try to put this one through. It's a little bit narrow, this piece. We could try to make a smaller tortellini, I guess. That one's going to be small. Look at this. This is insanely perfect dough, I have to say myself. Now, the bigger ones are going to be easier to make tortellini with. All right. Let's get 1 more big one, 2 more big ones, and a couple more small ones. We made a lot. We did good. Okay, we have a little bit of water. You can use egg whites, but it's not necessary. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix in a tiny bit of creme fraiche into this mixture. Just a little bit. I'm just making it into a filling. See how it's now stuck together? Small amount of filling. Let's start with a very tiny amount. Comme ça, la. Wet the edges. Fold this over and crimp the edges like this. Pick up your mezzaluna, which is this, and if you don't feel confident, you can always serve it like this. Put your thumb here and bring the pieces over like this with a little bit of water. Fold it till they kiss, like that. There's 1 tortellini. All right, these have to go immediately in the refrigerator. I'm now going to make the broth, which is really mushroom stock and some shallots. Here we go. A little bit of olive oil. Hot pan, olive oil. This is mushroom broth, which is essentially mushroom soup. What we're gonna do is flavor it with a little bit of shallots, fried off shallots, and a little bit of the herb de Provence that we used in the filling, and salt and pepper, obviously. I'm putting the herb in on top of the shallots. It kind of sinks in. If it's a fresh herb, I wouldn't do that because it would burn. Fry these off just, until they're not raw. And then we're just gonna pour this in. I'm gonna look at the color, see if I like the color. If I want it to be a little more clear, I'll just add regular vegetable broth. This is a luxurious thing to serve. I sincerely doubt our tortellinis are gonna hold together, but it's a first attempt. I'm gonna use a tiny bit of vermouth. Oh, yeah. The other thing you could do is cut some fresh mushrooms on top if you want. Okay, I'm gonna pour a little of this in, see what it looks like. It's a good color. Now, basically, I'm just heating this. And then remember when you cook fresh pasta, it cooks in about 2 minutes. So when you're cooking this, when you put your pasta in, this should be nicely simmering. Drop in your tortellini and it should cook very quickly. Just gonna let that cook a little bit and then we're gonna cook the tortellinis. We did a test tortellini and it did hold together. So these are about 2 minutes, I would say, maybe 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Here we go. 1, I'm gonna put the rest of these guys into this beautiful rich broth. I'm gonna set my timer just because it's fresh pasta, it's a little nerve-wracking. And now we just pray that they don't open. This is quite rich and dark. We're gonna maybe cut a little parsley over the top, give it a little zing. You can put minced pork in there. You have to make it differently, look it up, but you can put any filling you want. Peas and ricotta, that's one of my favorites. Peas, mint, and ricotta, hello. Honestly, they're floating, which usually means they're done. Now this should be served immediately because otherwise they'll continue to cook. So I'm just gonna gently stir this. They're nicely floating and bobbing and floating. Da-da-da-da. Tortellini soup. Don't be a dupe. It might throw you for a loop, but it ain't stupid. These are ready, in my opinion. They're becoming translucent. And I'm just gonna take this off the heat and I'm gonna take a look at my succès. Voila, intact. Voila, intact. So I'm gonna put this in a beautiful little bowl, cut some parsley over it, maybe a tiny bit of Parmesan on top. Listen, if you make your own pasta, first of all, it's challenging and it gets a little scary. Like I tell you, you can do it the first time. It's gonna take you your life to be great at it. I mean, look at Jody and Rita. They can do it with blindfolds on, I'm sure. But try this. It's delicious. It's not Michelin level, but it's beautiful. And it shows your friends that you care and that you wanted to make homemade tortellinis. You can go and buy them pre-made and put them in broth, but you didn't do that. You know why? Because it's Christmas time. Oh, yes. I can feel it coming to life.